ACLU has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
With the whole woke spectacle starting to fade, you'd expect the companies that bought into it to finally snap out of their trance. Some have, but plenty are still clinging to the same nonsense that tanked their profits and shredded their credibility. That's where Bill Maher, the unapologetic voice against woke absurdity, steps in, ready to stamp out the final embers of this cultural firestorm. And he didn't just talk about it. He brought the truth straight to millions of viewers, live on air, by exposing the double standards for all to see. So, let's get started.
If you become the opposite of what you always were, you have to change your name. It's become a trend in America these days, morphing into something completely different from what you were founded as, but still pretending you're the old you. TLC stands for the Learning Channel. They used to have shows like Learn to Read and Ready, Set, Learn. Here's some of their present and recent offerings. Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, Extreme Couponing, What Not to Wear, My Teen is Pregnant and So Am I. 1,000-Pound Sisters and Alaskan Women Looking for Love. And that's just the shows about the Palins.
Maher kicks things off by taking aim at TLC, the network once proudly known as the Learning Channel, for completely abandoning its original mission to educate and inspire viewers. What was once a hub for curiosity and discovery has, in his words, turned into a spectacle of empty, woke theatrics. Gone are the science programs and thoughtful documentaries that once enriched audiences. In their place are shows that glorify unhealthy habits, celebrate chaos by letting children call the shots, and push the notion that relationships should be filtered through political or ideological lenses. Maher's point couldn't be clearer. TLC didn't simply change direction, it lost its identity. The network traded authenticity and insight for shallow virtue, signaling and pandering. In doing so, it has become a symbol of how far corporate America has drifted from integrity and genuine purpose.
The A in A&E stands for arts. Seriously, they used to show the symphony. Now they have Deep Fried Dynasty, Hoarders, Storage Wars, Ghost Hunters, and Psychic Kids. You know, for people who find the Learning Channel too intellectual.
A&E, once proudly known as arts and entertainment, has also lost its way. Tune in today, and you'll find something entirely different from what it used to stand for. The art has vanished, replaced by politically charged storytelling disguised as progress. What was once a space for creativity and meaningful expression has been overtaken by agenda-driven programming that confuses shock value with representation. Maher jokes that the A for arts and the other A for authenticity have both disappeared, leaving only E, which now stands for empty entertainment. What used to be a showcase for imagination and originality has turned into a platform for preaching. It's yet another reminder, he says, that even once creative networks have traded truth for ratings and genuine artistry for ideology.
The History Channel has no history, and MTV has no music. I'm just saying, you can buy a petting zoo and turn it into a bondage dungeon, but you gotta change the sign.
Maher is absolutely on target. These networks have been swallowed by their own hypocrisy. They still parade their old names as if they carry meaning, yet everything they broadcast says otherwise. If A&E is now all about shallow entertainment instead of genuine artistry, then be honest, drop the A, and just call it E. TLC isn't any better. If there's no longer anything to learn, maybe it should rebrand as TC, the Chaos Channel. It's a sharp observation from Maher's perspective. Don't cling to a legacy you've already abandoned. Either admit you've surrendered to the woke machine, or live up to the identity you built. Because right now, these once great networks stand as hollow echoes of what they used to represent. Names without meaning, masks without substance.
Last year, Playboy put a gay man on the cover, which I guess we're supposed to celebrate, even though it was 2021 and there's already a dozen magazines for gay guys, 13 if you count Martha Stewart Living. Do we really need LGBT representation in Playboy? There's a transgender teenager on every show on television except reruns of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Playboy became one of the most surprising recruits in the woke movement. The same magazine, once known for celebrating women and masculinity, suddenly rebranded itself as a champion of political correctness, catering to the LGBTQ community. The irony was almost comedic. With every outlet already pushing similar representation, Playboy's shift looked less like progress and more like desperation, betraying its identity and alienating its audience. As Maher noted, companies like Playboy aren't being inclusive, they're conforming. In chasing approval, they've lost their originality and purpose.
Same thing is going on with the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which now celebrates all kind of bodies except, you know, the good kind. Was it really such a crime against humanity to have one magazine once a year that was about finding creative ways for supermodels to hide their... Now it looks like it's edited by the Huffington Post. Jeez, you have every other magazine. Do you hate Dad that much?
The broader cultural shift followed the same pattern, undermining masculinity while glorifying femininity. Society began treating manhood as a flaw to be mocked and womanhood as untouchable. Toxic masculinity became a convenient slogan to shame men for strength or competitiveness, while toxic femininity was never mentioned. Media reinforced the message: strong mothers, foolish fathers, and a constant narrative that men are the problem. Maher summed it up: the issue isn't equality anymore, but the rewriting of culture itself, where masculinity is ridiculed, diluted, and made to apologize for simply existing.
Valentine's Day, which was always a day to celebrate coupledom. It wasn't complicated: flowers, chocolates, blowjob. And yet, every year now, I more and more hear this idea that Valentine's Day is also a day to celebrate being alone. Be your own Valentine. That's right, on the one day was specifically set aside to honor bonding between two people. Don't do that. Make it about the opposite of that. Be your own Valentine. Get your own cheap, stale chocolates at CVS.
Then Ma turned his sharp humor toward Valentine's Day, and it was almost hilarious. Once a holiday devoted to love, friendship, and joy, it's now been hijacked by the woke crowd and stripped of its original charm. Instead of promoting affection or connection, the new message celebrates solitude. Suddenly, being single isn't a personal season, it's promoted as a lifelong badge of honor. People are told that wanting love or companionship somehow makes them needy or dependent. Ma couldn't help but laugh at how ridiculous it's become. What was once a day for tenderness and togetherness has morphed into a slogan for self-adoration. The spontaneous warmth of Valentine's Day, the chocolates, the flowers, the gestures, has been replaced by hollow mantras and hashtags. A celebration once rooted in unity has again been swallowed by ideology, and Maher isn't about to stay silent about that.
The Boy Scouts of America used to be an organization for boys because girls have cooties. But now the Boy Scouts accept girls, which I guess is inclusive, but it ignores the very important need for boys to sometimes get together as boys to fart in a sleeping bag and laugh at that, which girls don't find funny. It also ignores the fact that there has always also been a scout troop for girls. You may have heard of it, the Girl Scouts.
The so-called woke movement often overshadows basic common sense. Take the Boy Scouts, for example. For decades, the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts thrived as distinct, respected institutions, each building character and leadership in its own way. But in the name of inclusivity, that balance was erased. As Ma notes, the woke impulse often tries to fix what isn't broken. Inclusion turned into intrusion, blurring sensible distinctions and weakening organizations that once taught discipline and teamwork, all for the illusion of progress.
Can't anything just be what it is anymore? Weight Watchers used to be a club for people to lose weight, back when that was a good thing. Now we're so through the looking glass that obesity, the absolute undeniable #1 cause for ill health and death in America, is called body positivity. And people are shamed for losing weight. It happened to Adele. Weight Watchers is so intimidated, they changed their name to WW. Why not just call yourselves Wait, Don't Tell Me?
The body positive movement followed a similar path. It began as an empowering call for confidence and self-acceptance, but quickly lost direction. What started as self-love turned into glorifying unhealthy habits and dismissing medical reality as fat phobia. As Ma put it, it's a ticking time bomb disguised as empowerment. When emotion replaces logic, even good ideas collapse under their own contradictions. And eventually, reality catches up.
BLU has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
That's exactly the point. When did the American Civil Liberties Union, better known as the ACLU, start worrying about hurting people's feelings? This is the same organization that built its entire legacy defending free speech, no matter how controversial or offensive it might be. The ACLU once championed free speech but has shifted from principle to politics. Once fearless, it's now a gatekeeper deciding which views are acceptable. Ma put it best: trading freedom for feelings turned courage into conformity. His message is clear: weakness isn't progress, but moral posturing. Virtue signaling has replaced reason, honesty is silenced, and fragility is praised. Ma's fight is for sanity, warning that tearing down tradition in the name of progress only breeds chaos disguised as compassion.